Hello and welcome to Macau and Eurosport's live coverage of qualifying here for the penultimate round of the 2017 World Touring Car Championship. Q1 of 3 currently underway, a 30-minute session that will see the slowest runners eliminated. The top 12 continue through to Q2. Currently on board with championship leader Ted Bjork, and a man who's visiting Macau for the first time, and he comes as the leader of the World Championship. Under pressure as Norby Michelis has set the pace, his championship rival in the first 2 free practice sessions, but Ted Bjork has managed to chip away at finding a rhythm and the limits here at Macau. He heads into qualifying having been 6th quickest in free practice 2, and certainly looking to improve on that. Well, it is Ted Bjork that leads the World Championship ahead of Norby Michelis and Nicky Katzberg. The WTCC trophy points are led by Tom Chilton ahead of Mehdi Banani and Rob Huff. Both championships still wide open, and a very exciting climax to this 2017 season ahead. 2 races still to come here in Macau, then they'll head to Qatar for the final 2 rounds of the year. Thiago Monteiro is of course not here. His seat in the factory Honda squad goes to Esteban Guerreri. And Thiago, we wish you well. Thiago Monteiro suffered a testing accident at Barcelona after the Argentinian round in July, and his symptoms, his concussion symptoms, have not gone away, still suffering from double vision, so he's been missing from the last 3 rounds. And I'm seeing a red flag. Yep, we've got red flags out, and that is why it's Qinghui Ma who's hit the barrier on his outlap. So the Chinese sensation, with a brace of World Touring Car wins to his name, coming into Macau as an extra addition to the Sebastian Loeb squad, has now blotted his copybook straight away. Qinghui Ma into the barriers in qualifying, and that will not be the start to the weekend that he was hoping for. So Qinghui Ma will definitely start from the back of the grid. Whilst we clear the car up, we're going to head for a quick commercial break. Well, the clear up from Qinghui Ma's accident is all but complete, and well, that's not the start to the weekend that he was hoping for. And as I said before we went for a commercial break, he'll now start from the back of the grid. Car's now back in the pit lane. That is Jan Ehrlichie, son of Kathy Müller, and nephew to Ivan. Ivan obviously with 2 World Touring Car wins here, a 4-time world champion. But interestingly enough, Kathy Müller 12th in the Macau Formula 3 Grand Prix in 1983. So Jan Ehrlichie with plenty of information to call upon, if you like, in the family. Ivan Müller just up the pit lane advising this man, Ted Bjork, as Ivan is the test and development driver for Polestar Cien. Oversees the development of the Volvo S60. Macau lock the only Macau-based driver to be competing in this round of the World Touring Car Championship. He joins Claribel Chan Kingpong, who sadly withdrew from the weekend after free practice 1 due to illness. And that leaves Po Wao Wong and Qing Hui Ma as the only other newcomers. We've seen what's happened to Qing Hui Ma, but Po Wao Wong will be out in the session once it goes green. It does go green. And Nesta Girolami, the man who had to sit out free practice 2 as his car crawled to a halt in the early exchanges. So Nesta Girolami, the young Argentine, a rookie here to Macau, has only got free practice 1 to go on in terms of a reference point heading into this qualifying session. So he's very much up against it. A real uphill challenge. Track time critical here. And Ted Bjork has sort of showed that fact, if you like. The only Volvo driver with experience here is Nicky Katzberg as he races the factory Hondas down to Lisboa, trying to get in and amongst it. Nicky Katzberg raced here last year in the FIA GT World Cup. A GT3 car, very different to a World Touring car, but nevertheless, Katzberg with experience. He's trying to get up to the back of Michelis. Michelis has been the pace here, and Esteban Guerreri is not going to let him past. Guerreri wants a tow from his teammate. He wants to continue to learn. So Guerreri in that factory Honda in place of Thiago Monteiro. And he's not had any dry running in that car, so he's been used to the Chevrolet Cruze, the Campos Run Chevrolet. And it's difficult to switch across to a new car and then to come to Macau, which is, you know, incredibly tough to get any form of reference or rhythm around. Guerreri with F3 experience around here way back in 2012, but you know, F3 car again very, very different to a World Touring car. So Katzberg now deciding to back up Ryo Mishigami, who's the meat in a Volvo sandwich. Poor old Ryo. And Nesta Girolami, well, what's he going to do? Probably want to go with his teammate, but electing to stay behind Mishigami and try and tow the Japanese Honda around, or be towed around by the Japanese Honda. Everyone trying to find some clear track. And the challenge is you've got to get a lap in before any form of red flag comes back out. The only drivers to have got a lap in are Nicky Katzberg and Ted Bjork. Katzberg with a 227.4. Ted Bjork with a 228.4. But now we'll see what Norby Michelis can do. The man that's topped free practice 1 and free practice 2. Never qualified on pole here, but has had 2 second-row qualifyings. Did actually have his first ever World Touring Car win around the streets of Macau in 2010. That was when he was driving for Zengo Motorsport. And he's pushing hard to be to equal the all-time record for consecutive front row starts. He's got 5 at the moment. And Andy Priaulx, Georges Muller and Ivan Muller hold the record with 6. And if he can qualify on the front row here, he will have had 6 consecutive front row starts in 2017. And his qualifying of late has been fairly special. He was on pole in Germany, on pole in Portugal. Katzberg got the pole in Argentina, then it was Girolami in China, but Norby Michelis back on the pole last time out in Japan. So good form from the Hungarian star at Honda. And he's vying to wrestle the championship lead back from Ted Bjork was in a perfect position to do that. But the 2 disqualifications in China, where all 3 Hondas were disqualified due to a technical infringement, has hurt Norby Michelis' championship charge. And that's been advantage Ted Bjork and Volvo ever since. Norby Michelis, look for the purple sectors. There it is, middle sector, purple. The green sectors are personal best. The purple is session best. So anybody with a purple sector time means that they are on course for the quickest time of the session. And Norby Michelis now through the last corner, and a lot of oversteering, misses the apex, and that's going to hurt him dear. And I don't think that Norby Michelis will, well, he goes quickest, but he'll be able to go quicker than that. It's a 2:25.4, and we saw a 2:25.1 from Michelis, and someone crawling to a halt here. That's one of the Volvos, I think. But Michelis is going to have to improve, I think. And Nicky Katzberg it is who's crawled to a halt. He hasn't got in the pit lane. I think this will be a red flag again. And it looks as though he's hit the wall, or certainly there is some damage to the left front. And red flags are out. So Nicky Katzberg is another victim of the Macau barriers. Mehdi Banani was the only car to hit the wall in free practice. He hit the wall in free practice 1. Then everybody managed to escape the barriers in free practice 2. But we've seen Quinn Hui Ma in the barriers at the start of this qualifying session. And then I'll be very surprised if Katzberg hasn't had a moment going through Fisherman's Bend. And it looks as though Nicky Katzberg has clattered the wall. And that means the Dutchman will start from, well, he's 4th quickest at the moment. And he will, if he finishes in the top 12, go through to Q2. But it doesn't look as though that's going to happen. And for causing a red flag, will he go to the back of the grid? Well, clock stops. Or no, it doesn't. Clock continues to tick down now. Trying to listen to Katzberg. Well, the clock stopped on the live timing, and as it should, 18 minutes still to go. I think the graphic on your screen was wrong. This is the onboard of Katzberg grinding to a halt. He was trying to get just down to the pit lane entrance there, but sounded as though the drive shaft had popped out by that stage on the left front, and the Volvo, well, grinding to a halt. Well, those of you watching at home, as we sit under red flag conditions, give me a follow and tweet a question in if you've got any questions at Tom Gaymore, TOMGAYMOR. And if you're watching from the UK, it's going to be very early, 5:45 in the morning. Let me know where you're watching from, wherever you are around the world. The dog is watching in the UK. He says it's strange hearing me on a Friday morning. No, you've not lost a day yet. It is, of course, Macau, so a slightly different schedule for the World Touring Cars. It's not a round whereby they are the headline class. There's other categories that come together under the FIA banner for this blue ribbon event. And that is the FIA Formula 3 World Cup and also the FIA GT World Cup. Quick commercial break and we'll be back with more action, so stay with us. Of this World Touring Car qualifying session from Macau, Nicky Katzberg is in the wars, and this is why. He's run wide at Fisherman's Bend and he's clattered the wall with the left front. That's enough to break the steering arm, and it sounded as though the drive shaft had cried enough by the time he'd tried to run down to the pit entry as well. But talking to Jamie O'Leary, the Honda PR guru, he's just very cleverly let me know that if that car can't be repaired, then we won't be able to do the Mach 3 showdown either. So I'm not quite sure what happens there, but the Mach 3 showdown, if you're new to World Touring Cars, is a bit like a cycling showdown where you have the three manufacturers, the two manufacturers represented by three cars, and it'll be interesting to see if Volvo can get that fixed. So, as it stands, it is Norby Michelis who's quickest, ahead of Rob Huff. Rob Huff, the only man in the current World Touring Car grid or field to have had a pole position around here. And he's not just had one, he's had four in 2009, 2010, 2011 and 2012. So Rob Huff very much the man to beat around here. He's got 8 race wins to his name, more than anybody else in World Touring Car history. So Rob Huff, the man to beat around the streets of Macau. This 6.1 kilometre circuit. Qualifying record of 2:24.294. That was recorded by Jose Maria Lopez in 2014. Huffy's got the fastest lap, 2:27.009. That was in 2014 as well. Excuse me. It's worth pointing out that 2014 was the last time that the World Touring Car field visited the streets of Macau. Yeah, the gear race here began as a treasure hunt back in 1954. The actual first gear race was, in fact, in 1972. And that is how far this, the history of this circuit stretches back. An iconic venue located 64 kilometers east of Hong Kong. A nice trip across the Pearl River Delta. Capital, or the gambling capital of the world, believe it or not, as well as overtaken Las Vegas. Oh, I seem to have lost some sound there, but we're on board with Ted Bjork. And Ted Bjork now heading down towards Mandarin, a very, very fast right-hand corner. And you run right out to the barriers there on the left-hand side. And now it's down to Lisboa, where you've got to really concentrate not to miss your braking spot. And Ted Bjork just moving around, under braking over those bumps, but no mistakes through Lisboa. Fabulous sound as we listen to the Volvo S60. Ted Bjork certainly trying hard as he gets to the upper element of the circuit, right at the top of the hill. Just locking the left rear there. That won't be an issue. It's the unweighted wheel. To the tightest element on the circuit, and then you can see the track starts to sweep back down the hill towards Fisherman's Bend. This is where Nicky Katzberg had his incident. Ted Bjork a little bit more cautious. Now up to the final corner. A real mixture, this Macau circuit, of tight, twisty and difficult sections, and looks as though we've got one of the Campos cars stopped in one of those tight, twisty and difficult sections, and that could well be another red flag. So we're not doing very well, and the red flags are out. So in terms of entertainment, you're going to have to sit and listen to me for a bit longer as I feel another red flag. This 30-minute session we've had, well, we're halfway through, and we've got another red flag. This time it's Po Wa Wong, and he looks to have hit the barriers. Damage to the left front. And there you go. And Rob Huff's face says it all there. I think that's a little bit of frustration as the red flags start to get to Huffy. Nothing more annoying as a racing driver. Trying to find the rhythm, trying to get going. And this circuit does rely on that, does rely on laps, does rely on hitting your marks and finding that rhythm. The red flags just break that up.
That one now, anymore in this section. We'll have to give us the 15 to go through into Q2. Oh, there's another.
Well, Po Wa Wong there, it looked as though he was carrying far too much speed. And, well, that's the result. So Po Wa Wong, he was 18 seconds off the pace in free practice 2. He's now clattered the barriers in qualifying, trying to find a bit more pace. And Tom Coronel there. Yeah, we feel your pain, Tom. Norbert Michelis, well, he's sitting pretty. And a bit more relaxed. And that's because he's at the top of the tree. Tom Coronel, 16th at the moment. He's not really had... Well, he's not set a representative lap time at all. Neither has Tom Chilton, neither has Mehdi Banani. And that's the frustration. So, at the moment, the top 12 go through to Q2. And a couple of big names there, yet to set a lap time. Frustrating times for some of the drivers, because they need to get a lap under their belt. That said, still 13 minutes to go. On board with Mehdi Banani as he trundles back to the pit lane. Well, the Honda mechanics working incredibly hard to get Nicky Katzberg's car back together, and that will be not only for Q2, if he can get through, I'm not sure if you start from the back of the grid. If you've caused a red flag, I'll get that checked. But if Volvo don't make it into the Mach 3 qualifying session, that would be to Honda's advantage should all three cars be able to make it through the rest of qualifying, and that would mean that Honda would gain 12 points in the manufacturer's points. They're currently 40 behind. So that is the gain, or the thinking behind why Honda are frantically trying to put that car back together. Now you'd expect Mehdi Banani, Tom Chilton, Tom Coronel, they'd be the first to try and get out under the next green flag bit of running. Po Wa Wong's car being recovered. It's been a busy time for the Marshals in this opening segment of qualifying. It's incredibly impressive watching motorsport mechanics. A bit like bees making honey, as they set about trying to fix that car. Everyone knows what they're doing, and they all come together to, with very little communication, to, you know, create a masterpiece, if you like. Because that car, if you think, whole left-hand corner missing, probably a drive shaft as well. And to sort of get that back together, we're talking minutes, not hours. You know, that's impressive if they do that. Jan Erlechet, the young French, well, I think we could say star in the making. He's been brilliant, really good value so far in World Touring Cars. Learnt his trade with a really consistent run of top 10 finishes at the beginning of the year, and has come into his own with a win and a brace of second places as the years played out. A replay of Nicky Katzberg in the wars. There goes the sorry side to Po Wa Wong's Campus Chevrolet Cruze. And hopefully we'll be able to get back underway. Far too much speed, and that is the result. One thing these red flags are doing is helping the Volvo crew in terms of time, as they look to put together Nicky Katzberg's car. Really is benefiting. Norby Michelis currently quickest of all, ahead of Rob Huff. Look at the difference there. Esteban Guerreri in third. Nicky Katzberg fourth, but he's now out of qualifying. Ryo Michigami fifth. Nesta Girolami rounding out the top six, having missed out in free practice too. Pit lane is now green. should be able to get underway now. And hopefully have a clear run to the checkered flag. And then we'll move to Q2. Q1 eliminates the slowest runners, if you like. Talking to Tom Chilton after free practice 2, he was saying he needed to be braver through Mandarin. Normally very quick in the faster stuff, but he says he's losing almost 0.3 of a second and is 5k off the pace through Mandarin, so he's frustrated with that, and you lose time all the way down to Lisboa, the braking spot if you are slow through Mandarin. So Tom Chilton, who was quickest for a time in free practice 2, yet to set a lap in qualifying. That's what he'll be working on.
Thanks, Johnny.
Huffy speaking to the Brit, currently second quickest after free practice 2, says he's not really done anything special yet, trying to dial out wheel spin and weight distribution issues. And Citroën LSA's not running with any weight this weekend, so that means that without any ballast, you actually think you would have an advantage, but it means you can't change the balance. You haven't got any ballast to move up and down in the car, and if you put more weight on the front, you have traction courtesy of the more weight that you put on the front axle. But without that, he's now got wheel spin, so you take the weight off, you think that's a great advantage, but he now can't get out of any of the corners. So that's the issue with Huffy. That's the Girolami, first time here in Macau, his first qualifying session around the streets of Macau. We're on board with Esteban Guerreri. Listen to him down to Mandarin. Fully committed. Takes the middle of the road. And that's to avoid the bumps, and then we'll move back across to the left-hand side to get the widest possible entry into Lisboa. Fairly neat and tidy, plenty of respect for the barriers. So Guerreri looking to be quick, but there's still room to improve. And that's the approach that you need here around the streets of Macau. You can't go all out like you would at some of the more modern circuits, just because if you do make a mistake, it's all over. So you have to build up to it. It's what I was saying earlier. I've said it a few times in qualifying. It's all about laps. It's about rhythm, just chinking away, eating away at each corner, lap by lap. Guerreri, without much dry running in this car at all. He's used to the Chevrolet Cruze, the Campos car. Only been in the Honda since last time out in Motegi. Flew to Motegi thinking he was driving the Chevrolet Cruze. His manager had other ideas. When he landed, he found out he was driving the Honda. So Guerreri got a nice surprise when he arrived in Japan. And he's carried on that opportunity to Macau. Well, some of the front runners electing to stay in the pits, Rob Huff and Rio Mishigami. And I wonder if Huffy's got a small problem. Or is he confident that he's done enough? Maybe Alexandre Legui can find out for us. Esteban Guerreri through the final corner. He crosses the line to not improve. Mr. Girolami improves, he goes up to 4th. And Mehdi Banani goes quickest of all. Tom Chilton even quicker, a 1:24.9, the quickest lap we've seen all weekend from Tom Chilton. So he must have improved through Mandarin, because that is the quickest lap we've seen. 0.4 of a second quicker than Mehdi Banani, his teammate. They go 1st and 2nd. So in the dying moments of this 30-minute session, they get their first flying laps under their belt, and they've really made that count. Looks as though Tom Chilton has used Mehdi Banani as a toe, if you like, as a carrot. So it is Tom Chilton ahead of Mehdi Banani. Norby Michelis down in 3rd. Rob Huff still in the pits in 4th. Then it's Guerrieri in 5th. Tom Coronel's now up to 6th, so his frustration was short-lived. Nesta Girolami 7th. John Filippi 8th. Katzberg 9th. Mishigami down to 10th. On the bubble, Jan Erleschet, Zolt David Szabo, Macau Lock, we know, is going to struggle to get through. Daniel Naj is 16th. And he's out yet to set a representative lap time. Had throttle issues throughout the majority of the weekend, electrical issues and the fly-by-wire throttle. Po Wow Wong and Queen Hui Ma we've seen in the wall, so they won't be taking any further action. Everyone looking to try and improve, and there's lots of green sectors from John Filippi down, so the fight for the Q2 spot is on. All the front runners have backed off. They think they've done enough. Sensational lap from Tom Chilton, a 2:24.9. If it was a 1:24.9, that really would be incredible, but it's not. It's 2 minutes. Jan Erleschet starting his flying lap. He needs to make this count. Tebiot up to 5th. That's one better than he managed to go in free practice 2. So the championship leader chipping away and improving as the weekend goes on. It's been a professional and confident start to the weekend as he's kept it out the barriers. He's trusted his ability to learn and chip away at it. And when he first started in free practice 1, he had some real work to do, but he didn't panic, and he just kept going, and he's starting to reap the rewards. Zolt David Szabo through Mandarin. Sort of overcorrected the car there. Got some oversteer, but just kept it too tight. Had more room to run on the exit, but it's easy for me to say sat in the commentary box. It's a little bit harder when you're approaching 280 kilometers an hour. And you've got a wall right on the outside of the circuit. The Polestar Cyan Volvo squad looking on. Tebiot, the quickest of the Volvo drivers. Nesta Girolami is 8th. Katzberg, we've seen in the wall, 10th. Coronel with a strong run in that Q1 session. 3 minutes still left on the clock, but I think that's enough for Coronel to get through to Q2. I'm just getting the thumbs up there. Jan Erleschet has not managed to set any green sectors, so he's not improving at the moment, but he'll still have some time to improve. He's not going to get the checker flag this time around. So Delada Vesta starts another lap. Erlachey in 13th. He needs top 12 to go through, and his teammate currently ahead of him, Kevin Gleeson. Gleeson doesn't improve either. And that's a bit more like it from Jan Erlachey, right out to the wall. He'll at least want to beat his teammate. He's 7/10 down on the American. It's not a personal best from Erlachey. So maybe he's used the best of his tyres. So David Szabo doesn't improve either. He stays 5.3 seconds off the quickest time of Tom Chilton. Flashing his headlights there. I think it's Kevin Gleeson ahead of him on a slow lap. No, it's not. It's Macau, I think. Macau, the only Macau-based driver in the field. Down into the final minute now. Still Jan Erlachey trying to improve. He set a personal best middle sector, so is this good enough for Erlachey to make the top 12? Through the final curve, Arben. That looks neat and tidy. He's on the throttle early. Is this enough for Erlachey to go up into 12th place? We wait for the timing screens. It's quicker. It's not quick enough. So Erlachey 4/10 shy of his teammates still. So that was better, and he'll still have another lap because he didn't get the checker flag. But now he's really got his work cut out. Result, David Szabo looking to improve. He's down in the middle sector, so he was personal best in the first sector, lost some time in the middle sector. So due to the regulations, Nicky Katzberg not allowed to take part in qualifying, having caused the red flag. So that is confirmed. And that means it's a race to get that car fixed for Mach 3. But Richard Roberts, the media delegate at the FIA, just confirming that. Checker flag out. Erlachey not able to improve by the looks of things. And that means that he's going to miss out on the top 12. Tom Chilton's going to be sitting pretty, and all the front runners in the pit lane. Very much the battle for the lower positions to get into Q2 now. And we've been featuring Erlachey, the young French protege, of Ivan Muller for the last few laps. His first time here in Macau. He's looked quick, hasn't he? But the time just hasn't quite come together. Problem is you attack the entry, you look like you're on it in the mid-sector of the corner, and you're late on the throttle, and what happens is it's all about exits, that age-old additive, slow in, fast out. And when you're learning a circuit, that's always the biggest battle. Erleche does miss out. He takes the checkered flag in 13th. So casualties from Q1. Nicky Katzberg, of course, only 11 will go through because he finished 10th. And Jan Erleche, Zolt David Szabo, and Daniel Nage, Macau Lock, Po Wa Wong and Quinn Hui Ma all out in Q1. That means Tom Chilton, Mehdi Banani, Norby Michelis, Rob Huff, the championship leader Ted Bjork, Esteban Guerreri, Tom Coronel, Nesta Girolami, Jean-Philippe, Rio Michigami and Kevin Gleeson all through to Q2.
Attention in pit lane.
Well, cars getting underway for Q2, and top 12 are through to this. If you finish 11th and 12th in Q2, you're locked into those positions. If you finish 10th, you start on the reverse grid pole for the opening race. So 10 through to 6 will be reversed. And then 1 to 5, you will go through to Q3 to challenge for pole position in that session, and that will be for the main race. Your position's obviously reversed for the opening race. So I hope that kind of makes sense, and I'll explain it as we go along. Shorter session now for Q2. On board with Norby Michelis. The most important thing for the likes of Norby is to make sure you're in the top 5. And there'll be some of the drivers that will be not aiming for 10th place, but will be very pleased if they end up in that coveted position, because that will mean pole position and a real chance to win a race come race day tomorrow. And that's what Jan Erleche has done so well over the last few rounds, but missing out this time, and he'll be disappointed with that. Such has been his progression of late. So in this session, Tom Chilton, Norby Michelis, Tom Coronel, Rob Huff, Kevin Gleeson with a really good job in Q1. Mehdi Banani, Jean-Philippe, Michigami, Girolami, Ted Bjork, Guerreri and Katzberg not here. Norby Michelis, the first through Fisherman's Bend. And he'll be the first to cross the start and finish line once he winds it up to set a representative lap time. The Honda cars running line astern. Here comes Norby Michelis up to Mandarin. He's got Guerreri behind, and then Rio Michigami. Fully committed through Mandarin, as you would expect. Hits the brakes hard for Lisboa. Much tighter from the driver's point of view. Neat and tidy from Michelis. It's actually Michigami who was quickest of all, probably courtesy of a big toe down to Lisboa. First sector here at Macau, very short though. It's the middle sector that's long, and the longer the sector, and also the slower the corners. The more time you spend in the corners, the more the time lost if you make a mistake or you're not quite hooked up. So middle sector very representative around this 6.1 kilometre circuit. And the middle sectors where Norby Michelis has been blisteringly quick through free practice. And again, very close to the barriers. Just about getting the car stopped, using the camber of the road there. On board with Guerrieri, and Mehdi Banani's in the wall. So straight away into Q2, the Sebastian Loeb start. Mehdi Banani is in the barriers, he's in the wars, and that's a real issue for Mehdi because he's challenging Tom Chilton for the WTCC Trophy Championship points. Depending on what Tom Chilton can do now on in, because Mehdi Banani's still trying to get out, but he can't. So the marshals directing the driver. So the Moroccan out the car. And as I was saying, Tom Chilton now with an opportunity to hopefully get into Q3 and put some daylight between himself and Mehdi Banani on the grid. And that will be more trophy points for the Brits. So another red flag here in Macau. This time it's Mehdi Banani. This time it's at the beginning of Q2. And Mehdi Banani's first flying lap, not what he would have hoped. Mehdi Banani, we saw in the barrier up at the top of the hill in free practice 1. So this is his second trip into the Macau crash barriers. And that's one of the Volvos as well. And that's going to mean that, well, they're not going to be able to do, and that's the issue. So it was the Volvo that hit the wall, and Mehdi Banani, poor old Mehdi Banani, an innocent victim. Oh no, that looked as though it was Nesta Girolami that was in the wall. So Mehdi Banani had nowhere to go, and that's the challenge with Macau, especially as you move up the hill. Did the Volvo get going though? Looked as though there was damage on it. So that's Ted Bjork that's gone through, and that is Nesta Girolami that's hit the wall. And Mehdi Banani with nowhere to go but the tyre barriers, and oh, Tom Chilton incredibly close to following his teammate in, and look, you've got an expensive car park there. Wow, that was close. And that looks as though it's a very damaged Volvo S60. So all the hard work they're doing with Katzberg's car could be undone here as we wait to see what's the fate for Nesta Girolami. Lots of concerned faces. Tom Chilton there, very lucky not to suffer the same fate as his teammate Mehdi Banani. Poor old Mehdi Banani, the innocent victim in that. So looking at Twitter, and wherever you are in the world, please do tweet in, give me a follow, say hello. Any questions you've got, tweet in at Tom Gaymore, TOMGAYMOR. Mick Ford, watching from Australia. And we've had Alex Roy watching from Canada earlier on. Esteban Garcia watching from Argentina. Jared Justice watching from LA. Addy T watching from the UK as well. So welcome all of the Eurosport viewers from wherever you are in the world. Q2 back underway. And there is Ted Bjork, the championship leader's car. Ivan Muller talking to the engineers. Ted Bjork doing what he needs to do without putting the commentator's curse on him. Staying out of the barriers. Just chipping away. Out come the Hondas. No one has yet to manage to set a representative time or a flying lap at all. So the frustrating thing for Michelis is, okay, you could argue that potentially there'd be team orders, but with no Katzberg and Girolami in the mix, lessens the chance he can to get away from Ted Bjork in terms of grid positions. Through the tightest corner on the circuit. But yeah, going back to that point, so the less there are in terms of numbers between Michelis and his championship rival, the less points Michelis can take away from Ted Bjork in terms of capitalising on the pace advantage he has at this stage in the weekend. Ted Bjork will get quicker and quicker as the weekend goes on, but Michelis now will be, well, he won't be thinking about it now, but certainly there probably are people at Honda that are mindful of the fact that Katzberg and Girolami could have potentially taken grid positions away from Ted Bjork and put space between Michelis and his Swedish rival. So Michelis first across the start and finish line. Guerrieri there with Mishigami still in the pit lane. I'm not entirely sure what the ploy is there for Mishigami. Ted Bjork is still in the pits as well. So they're just going to go for one lap in this Q2 session. On board with the Argentine Esteban Guerrieri. See some oil down there from one of the support series. Cement dust covering that. this for me is the best part of this Macau circuit. Yes, Mandarin's brilliant and the quick sweepers, Fisherman Bend, but the narrow nature of the circuit when you're in the car heading up the hill now to this right-hander, you just cannot believe how tight and narrow it is. I mean, it literally is like a one-way street in parts. The widest element of the circuit, only 7 meters. The widest element of that section of the circuit, I should say. Right, here comes Norby Michelis across the line. First to set a representative time. It's a 2:24.9. That is as quick as Tom Chilton went in Q1. So straight away, Norby on the pace. Esteban Guerreri, a 2:25.5. He goes second, but is beaten by Tom Chilton with a 2:25.4. Tom Chilton now second, Guerreri down to third. So it's Michelis, Chilton, Guerreri. Rob Huff, a 2:24.3 as the red flag comes out. And that is why John Philippi in the wall at our bend, the final corner. But Rob Huff, just as the red flag came out, a 2:24.3, which is super quick. That is, well, 7/10 quicker than we've seen all weekend. A whopping margin, and only half a tenth off. And that's a lot of contact there for John Philippi. You can see the left rear wheel being ripped off. But the qualifying record, a 2:24.294 from Jose Maria Lopez. Rob Huff has just done a 2:24.3. So you can see how close he is to the ultimate pace that we've seen here around these streets of Macau. And Rob Huff, that was something special. And how timely as well, as John Philippi rips the left rear corner off his Sebastian Loeb Citroën Alese. Rob Huff manages to go quickest of all. 4 minutes left on the clock. Another red flag here in World Touring Car qualifying. And still 8 drivers yet to set a representative lap time. Quick commercial break. We'll be back with the final elements of qualifying still to come. The Frenchman tagging the wall at Arbenne, the final corner around this Macau circuit, and you can see he's trying to get out of it very early on. Once you get offline here on a street circuit, you pick up the marbles and all the debris and the little bits of rubber that have come off the tires in the support category. They get pushed to the edge of the track, and then when you drive on that, it's literally like a Tom and Jerry cartoon. Think of you know, Tom the cat standing on the marbles and just, you know, landing on his back. That's essentially what happens. The tire that you're running just cannot connect to the asphalt. There's nothing there, so the surface area of the slick can't connect properly to the asphalt because of the marbles that are there get picked up onto the surface of that tire, and you just lose about 30% of your adhesion. And that is why you see that effect. As soon as they get offline, they just can't turn, can't brake, can't do anything. And John Philippi there, a passenger into the barriers. Well, we've got quite a few drivers that haven't set a representative time. That man, well, he's on a different planet. And he said he hadn't done anything special yet. He was holding it all back in free practice, wasn't he? And then he's just put his cards down on the table and at a timely moment as well, heading into Q3. Andy Robinson's got in touch on Twitter saying what a great lap from Huff Sport, and yep, I concur with that. He says it's very informative, thanks. Well, I try my best. UniXX TR Motorsport watching from Thailand, welcome. Saying the onboard footage scaring the hell out of them, and well, this is why Macau, every racing driver that comes here just beams when they get out of the car, smiles from ear to ear. And you can see just by the nature of the red flags we've had so far in qualifying how difficult this circuit is. When you need to push, you cannot force the issue. You've just got to tick away at it and build your rhythm and have a very, very mature and controlled approach. But, well, if you know any racing drivers, that doesn't come too naturally. Yijit Top. Is it true that the fastest corner and the slowest corner of the whole calendar is in this circuit? Well, certainly the slowest corner. The tightest corner on the calendar is at the top of the hill. And there's only one line into that. You can't actually overtake. They'll have yellow flags in the races there, because if you get up the inside into turn 20, you will not have enough steering lock to rotate the car round, and you'll just cause a roadblock. You'll nose into the wall on the exit. So that is certainly the slowest and the tightest corner. Mandarin has to be one of the quickest corners on the calendar. And so I think that's pretty true. Vicky Butler watching as well. And as I said, as we sit under red flag conditions, if you've got any questions, do get in touch on Twitter and we'll try and involve you as much as we can. I'm on my own for qualifying. Matt Neal will be with me for the races. So we look like little and large when we're together. But Matt not being able to make it for qualifying, but he will be here for the races. So you will not just be stuck with my dulcet tones, you will have some injection of knowledge and enthusiasm from Matt Neal as well. Well, the cement dust going down on the exit of the final corner. Now, luckily, the majority of that cement dust is actually offline as the cars come back across the track. But when you're a racing driver, you will be mindful that that's right on the exit of the corner where the car's on maximum load. And if there is a loss of adhesion there, that's going to only end up one way and in the barrier. So it'll be interesting to see what the drivers do on their first flies through there, whether or not they are cautious. See the sweat on Guerrieri's brow there. Maybe Banani trudges away. Through no fault of his own, it looked as though from the onboard that the Moroccan had just gone straight on, but he had no option. Nestor Girolami had already made the mistake and the road was blocked, and in a split second you can't do anything. You can't, you know, you're just trying to avoid. And watch here now, Girolami go straight in. Mehdi Banani will be coming round the corner as Girolami's car bounces back onto the racing line. And Banani now already committed, already under the brakes, cannot get the car slowed and rotated to fit through that gap. Tom Chilton just managed to do that. And two of the Sebastian Loeb Racing Citroën Alesses were nearly wiped out in one incident. But as it stands, only Mehdi Banani caught up in Girolami's accident. So the green flag is out. And now we're going to have all of the runners that have not set a representative lap time to, well, they've got 3 minutes to get around. So they're going to have to push on the outlap.
Emil, a very disappointing time here at Macau for you so far. Talk us through what just happened there with Bebu.
Well, somehow he just got caught out by a slippery track or somewhat. I don't know really what happened. Unfortunately, he hit the wall and had to retire, so we're working on the car to get it ready for Mach 3, but yeah, we'll have to see what happens.
Have you heard from him?
He should be fine, so that's the most important thing.
Do you have any idea of the extent of the damage yet?
Not yet, working on it.
Okay, disappointing. Thank you.
We lost.
So you can see the time clicking down, and we know that a flying lap around here is around 2 minutes 25. So, you know, these drivers have got to push to get out, otherwise they're not going to be able to set a representative lap time.
That's why we're down to 6 for the second, which has a minute and 40 seconds to go.
Ted Bjork, the championship leader, first of the drivers to make it out and around. He's going to easily be able to set a flyer. Now, all of these drivers, and there's 8 of them, so Tom Coronel, Gleason, Filippi, Mehdi Banani, Ria Mishigami, Nesta Girolami, Nicky Katzberg, they've all got to make it count on this lap. It's a 1-lap dash to the checkered flag. First of all, they've got to get around before the checkered comes out, and then they've got to complete a lap without incident and a maximum attack. Now, the issue is if we have another red flag, as the drivers do push it all the way to the max to get through to Q3. Neat and tidy from Ted Bjork so far. Volvo S60 screaming as Ted Bjork wrings the neck of that Polestar Scion machine. And you can hear the car peaking in the rev range as they go over the undulations, the front-wheel drive S60. Really tight and twisty in this middle sector. Ted Bjork working the steering hard. And he's tentative. You can see he's got lots of different inputs to the steering when he's trying to rotate that car, and that's because he's trying to feel the limit, the slip angle of the front tyres. That's what you do when you're trying, or you're not quite sure of what's underneath you. Trying to feel the grip levels. What it does is destabilize the contact patch, works the contact patch of the tyre too much. Ted Bjork with a very good personal best middle sector. Ria Mishigami with a purple first sector. No surprise. Mehdi Banani, Nesta Girolami, who's made it back. They're all on a personal best. So Ted Bjork crosses the line, he goes third quickest. A 2:25.1, that'll be enough for Ted Bjork to get into Q3, I think. But it'll be interesting to see. Tom Chilton has crossed the line. He's not improved. Ted Bjork, we know, has taken the checkered flag. Rob Huff, Norby Michelis didn't go out. Esteban Guerreri, he improves, goes second. So that puts Chilton right on the window. Mishigami's crossed the line. He hasn't improved right at the end. He stays 7th. Tom Coronel, 8th. And now we look to see who's going to take the reverse grid pole. Well, that was a really good lap from Esteban Guerreri, right at the last minute, right in the dying moments of Q2, popped up into the top 5, second quickest for the Honda man, ahead of his teammate Norby Michelis. So yellow flags are out. Jean-Philippe has not managed to finish his lap. Are they for Jean? Well, we know Jean-Philippe's not managed to finish his lap. Crikey. I'm losing my marbles here. There's been so much action in that second session. Jean-Philippe, Mehdi Banani, Nesta Girolami. Girolami didn't get back out. So when I was looking at the timing screen, I thought it had reset itself, but it hadn't. So Nesta Girolami not back out. So that's going to be really interesting, working out who starts from the reverse grid pole. As it stands, we turn our attentions to Q3. Rob Huff, Esteban Guerreri, Norby Michelis, Ted Bjork and Tom Chilton will be the 5 candidates that fight it out in that one-lap showdown. So if you're new to World Touring Cars, it's basically one lap and you either make it count or you don't. But the worst you can finish is 5th. This is for the main grid for the main race. So we have 2 races, the opening race and the main race. The opening race, whoever finished 10th in the session. Now just waiting to see the classification. So I want to see the classification. Only 8 finished that Q2. So 8th, 9th, 10th. 11th and 12th are locked into 11th and 12th, but I want to see who's finished 9th and 10th on the official classification before I say who's got the reverse grid pole. But whoever is 10th will have that. Whoever's 9th will be on the front row rhythm, and then 8th, 7th, 6th, that's reversed. Top 5 will then be whoever finished first. Rob Huff will then be 6th in the opening race, and now we'll fight it out in Q3 for the main race pole position. So I hope I haven't complicated that too much, but Alexandre Le Guy is with Mehdi Banani.
Oh, Macau, you throw up all sorts of fun stuff. Now I'm here with Mehdi, who should be, theoretically, our poleman for the opening race. That's one way of doing it, Mehdi.
No, it was not nice qualifying. Not to finish one lap. Since Q1, it was upset for me. But we know it's Macau. Every time he's struggling. And with the Volvo, with Girolami car, I didn't have time to brake and to stop the car. And the only way was not to crash with him, to crash with the barrier. I think a little bit saved the car, but other way, it's a big damage for the car. I hope that they can repair for tomorrow. But what is upset, we have been very quick, all the FP1, P2, FP2, P2, so every time fighting for the pole. I think it was a good circuit for us to fight for the pole position. But
at least given the circumstance, you're in the best position that you can be. If the car is able to be fixed, we know that you've got the pace.
Yeah, sure. We hope that the car will be fixed, but I think it's good also to start pole on the opening race tomorrow. Every time it's very good to start first, but I'm a little bit upset. You know, qualifying, you need to finish your lap, to keep pushing and to have your real lap time. But it's like this. We know motorsport sometimes it's like this. We like motorsport, we love, so that's why.
Well, that's Mehdi Banani's take on things, and we wait for classification on that reverse grid pole. And Honda have just tweeted the same. purely because only 8 drivers finished Q2. So we think, and Alexandra Legui said that, we think it's Mehdi Benani on the reverse grid pole, but that's yet to be the official classification, and that's what the teams are waiting for down in pit lane. That's what the broadcasters are waiting for as well. Right, Tom Chilton is the first of the drivers out in Q3, courtesy of finishing 5th in Q2. And this will be for the all-important main pole position in the main race. And I tell you what, you know, Norby Michelis, Rob Huff, Tom Chilton, and don't discount Guerreri and Bjork, but certainly, you know, Huffy, Michelis or Chilton. Chilton was quickest at times in FP2. Don't discount this man. First into the 24s as well in qualifying. So it's who can put it together around this lap. And I know, you know, that's an obvious statement, but it's so easy to make a mistake somewhere around this lap. It's such a long lap. There's so many slow speed corners where you spend so much time in those corners. Really putting together the perfect lap now under these conditions, under this pressure where you only have one shot at it, is really, really challenging. And the form guide might get ripped up and thrown out the window here, because it can really bite you, Macau, and it's who can do it under the most amount of pressure. Nice slow out lap for Tom Chilton. Through the final couple of corners now, and Tom Chilton just building the tyre temps up into Fisherman's Bend. He'll compromise entry here to get a really good exit, because it's full throttle all the way down to Lisboa, so it makes no sense to make a mistake in the final corner and compromise your run on this, your flying lap. And fully committed Tom Chilton, as we'd expect. After free practice 2, he said he wanted to have more pace through this corner, Mandarin. Right up to the wall. Now he needs to find his braking spot for Lisboa. And that's a very, very quick opening sector. It is, of course, purple. I don't think it's the quickest we've had, but it is the quickest we've had in Q3, because Tom Chilton's the only driver we've had out yet, so every sector he sets will be purple. And he's a little bit deep there. He's had to lift and compromise the exit. Just trying a little bit too hard in the opening few corners of this middle sector. Oh, that is as close as you get. Tom Chilton right on the edge. Fantastic to watch. Again, very close to the wall. And the Sebastian Loeb engineers look on nervously. This is the tightest corner on the circuit, on the calendar. Now he races down to Fisherman's Bend. This is a really challenging corner. Nice and tidy from Tom. And again, good speed through the final corner. And Tom Chilton crosses the line. 2:24.8, that's the quickest he's been all weekend. A tenth quicker than his time earlier on in qualifying. And good commitment from Tom Chilton. That set a real strong benchmark. So Tom Chilton with the benchmark of 2:24.8. Not as quick as Huffy went in Q2, but it's a good benchmark, and Ted Bjork will be the next driver out that's going to try and beat that time. So the championship leader made it through to Q3, and that was impressive. If you look at where he started in FP1, Ted Bjork has really impressed me with his mature and structured approach to the weekend. He's kept it out of the barriers to date. Look at that, pulls top gear, flat through turn 1, now up to Mandarin. And that's not what we want to be looking at. Wish we'd stayed on board. And Ted Bjork, how quick was he through there? That would have been brilliant to see. And straight away, reaping the time reward. I have to say, as it looked as though he got deep into there. He gained a lot of time under brakes. He would have lost some on the exit because he had to hold the brakes a lot later than Tom did, and that will compromise when he got on the throttle. Now we're into the long middle sector. We saw Tom Chilton make a mistake there. Ted Bjork escapes making any mistakes so far, apart from being slightly late on the brakes to Lisboa, but he will have gained time under braking. Probably lost a bit on the exit, but I would have thought that would be a positive delta. Ivan Muller looking on. Here is Ted Bjork on board. Look how tight and twisty this is. Middle sector, the timing beam about to be cut, and he's lost time. So neat and tidy, but just shy on the commitment. And now what can Ted Bjork do through the final 2 corners to bring back that time lost to Tom Chilton? I said Tom Chilton's time was a strong benchmark. And this looks conservative from Ted Bjork through the last corner. It is, loses more time. And it was exactly what I said, it was just conservative. So he was up on the time, started off the lap with plenty of commitment, and then it just fell away from him. He was almost frightened of making a mistake there. Right. Now it's Norby Michelis, the man that is chasing Ted Bjork in the championship. And he really wants to qualify ahead of the Swede. And he wants to equal the all-time record for front row starts as well in the World Touring Car Championship. If he can qualify on the front row, he'll do that. But he needs to be in the top 2. Norby Michelis starts his flying lap. He's only ever qualified on the second row here at Macau. But he has won a race. That was in 2010. His first ever World Touring Car win. And that's quick from Norby Michelis, but don't get too excited because it's a short first sector. It's what he does now that will really count. But that is very, very quick from the Hungarian. Little oversteer there. We saw Tom Chilton make the mistake through that right-hander. Norby looks neat and tidy. Tom was very quick through here. Michelis quick as well. Tom Chilton talking to Mehdi Banani. Missed a chunk of Norby Michelis' lap there, but he runs slightly wide. Too much rake in the car. Couldn't get it turned in, but used the camber to roll off the brake. Oh, that was very, very close for Norby Michelis. He's pushing now. And look, the time is there. You can see Norby Michelis now on a very, very good lap. And this could be the quickest ever lap we've seen in World Touring Car history around this Macau circuit. The previous best, Jose Maria Lopez, a 2:24.294. On board with Norby Michelis through our bend. He's on the throttle. And he races to the line. It's a 2:24.301, so not quite the quickest ever time, but the quickest time we've seen all weekend. And Norby Michelis lays down the gauntlet to Esteban Guerreri and Rob Huff. And Rob Huff's going to have to go some to beat that. Norby Michelis. Just 7/100 shy of the quickest ever lap. And that goes to Jose Maria Lopez in 2014. Well, Guerreri now, his teammate, that is some lap time that the Argentine has got to beat. He's been here before in F3, but he's never been here before in a Honda touring car. And Guerreri will... well, I wonder if he's got that through on his radio. Some drivers ask for different bits of information. Some just know that they've got to go out and be fully committed, and it doesn't matter what anybody else does because they're the only ones that can control their destiny. They can't control what other people do. So Guerreri off on his flying lap. But Huffy will have seen that because he would have still been in the pit lane. And Michelis, I have to say, that's really impressed me. Down to the first split for the Argentine. And he's quicker than Tom Chilton was, but not as quick as Norby Michelis. Listening to the throttle as he chases it through the slow and medium speed corners. Good commitment from Esteban. This is not easy. He's hardly had any dry running in this car, if any, heading to this weekend. Only got in it last time out at Twin Ring Motegi. He's used to the Chevrolet Cruze, the Campos car. Coming up to the timing split. At the top of the hill, look how tight this is from on board. Almost, well, you're just on idle really there. Car hopping through, 7/10 down, but if he can get in the 2:24s, this will be a really, really good lap from Guerrieri. Look at that, nice and committed to the final corner. And now he keeps tight to the barrier on the left-hand side, and it's the shortest possible distance, 2:25.2, so Tom Chilton stays on the front row. And now he looks nervously on because his countryman Rob Huff is the next man to go. Guerrieri, slowest so far, but a good lap. Norby Michelis quickest, the 2:24.3. Tom Chilton second, the 2:24.8. Then it's Ted Bjork, the championship leader, and what a great job he's done so far. He's ahead of Guerrieri, who's fourth with a 2:25.2. Rob Huff, the final man to go. He's got the weight of the world on his shoulders now. Everyone watching on, and just imagine what that feels like. All of that pressure. He's a four-time pole sitter here. He's won 8 times. He's the only man in the current starting grid to have been on pole here at Macau. What can Rob Huff do aboard his all-in-cool Citroën LSA? Is this going to be Rob Huff's moment? He was super fast in Q2. And if he's been saving anything special, he'll be weeding it out now. Very late on the brakes. Gets the car stopped nice and early on the throttle. And look at that, he's right on Norby Michelis' time. And I have to say, so far, Norby and Rob Huff, well, it's been between these two throughout the weekend. Tom Chilton has shone at times. Norby Michelis, Rob Huff seem to be on a different level. But Huffy now into the middle sector. And is he going to do enough to get onto the front row? Citroën LSA screaming through the streets of Macau, and that's a touch at the wall, wasn't it? Was that a touch on the wall? Well, if it was, it's going to have really cost Rob some time. This is the timing beacon. Oh my word, it's quick, it's really quick. So Rob Huff, if he has kissed the wall, it hasn't hurt him too much, and that just shows his commitment. Through the penultimate corner, and if he can keep this up, it's not only going to be pole, it's going to be the quickest ever World Touring Car lap around Macau. Through the final corner, here comes Rob Huff onto the throttle, right out to the wall. He's fully committed, and Rob Huff crosses the start and finish line, and it's even quicker in the final sector, a 2:23.995. The first ever lap in the 23-second margin, and Rob Huff shatters Jose Maria Lopez's best ever lap from 2014. And Rob Huff is your pole sitter. He's a 5-time Macau pole sitter now, and that was something incredible from the Brit. His second pole position of the year. He was on pole in Hungary, but this is the one that will mean the most. Rob Huff on pole. Well, that was absolutely stunning from Rob Huff. And there is his dad looking on. Well, he saved his powder, didn't he? Kept it dry until it really mattered. It was a great lap in Q2. It was something special in Q3. Rob Huff on pole again around the streets of Macau, alongside Norby Michelis, who equals the all-time record for 6 consecutive World Touring Car starts on the front row. So well done, Norby. And Tom Chilton, who was really impressive in that Q3, is bumped down to the second row. He'll start alongside Ted Bjork, the championship leader, with Esteban Guerreri in 5th. Well, take a moment to let that sink in, Rob Huff. Norby Michelis knows that, well, 0.3 of a second. He'll be wondering where he can find that. His lap was something special. What Rob Huff did, well, we've never seen a lap like it around the streets of Macau. Well, Norby Michelis will start 2 places ahead of his championship rival, Ted Bjork. You can just see how warm it is here in Macau. Norby not sweating profusely, but certainly looks as though he's had a workout. Now here comes Rob Huff to grab the plaudits, and rightfully so. Make sure you enjoy every second. It's fairly cool, calm and collected. He knows there's still plenty of running to come. You don't get many points for qualifying.
Let's dry a little bit the helmet.
Thanks, Tony. We saw Mando walking across the pit lane with a smile on his face. Norby Michelis, he's not at all unhappy about the outcome. He may be only second in that session.
There is Esteban Guerreri.
But he, of course, is going to be ahead of his rival for the World Championship, Ted Bjork. Because after Macau, it's not the last rounds of
Bit of choice language there. Engineer says not bad for Macau, and nearly wipes out the cameraman there. He's kept it out the barriers. Can't keep it out the cameraman. But Guerreri, as all racing drivers are when they're not quite at the top of the tree, annoyed with what he's managed to do. They wouldn't be a racing driver. They wouldn't have that competitive edge if they weren't like that.
Now, we're not finished with touring cars because we now have the manufacturers against the clock, Mac 3 as it's called.
So here is Rob Huff. About to get out of the car.
Honda, and the way it works, Honda goes first because at the moment it's a championship. They are in second place with Volvo. So because there's behind Volvo,
Huffy celebrating with his crew. You probably heard in the background the circuit commentator alluding to the fact that we have the manufacturers against the clock competition now, Mach 3, and all of the Volvos have been fixed, I'm reliably told. So we will have Honda versus Volvo. And you have 3 cars, if you're new to World Touring Cars, the 3 manufacturer cars that race it out. And they compete. The first across the line cuts the beam, and the last across the line stops it. So it's effectively the last car across the line that stops the clock. And I think we're going to have an interview with our pole man, Rob Huff.
Well, not content with 8 wins, seriously heading for 9. Rob, congratulations. That was a ridiculously good lap.
Thank you. Yeah, it was awesome. You know, I've been saving a little bit of weekend because you have to. You don't need it in Macau until you need it. So, but yeah, that was probably the most daredevil lap I've ever done around here. You know, it's just I thought I was going to crash on every corner. It was just it was mad. But huge thanks to the All-In Community team. Just to pull that out of the bag here. You know we like this place. I won here with them in 2013, and if there's going to be a racetrack I want to win at this year, it's going to be this one.
What would a 9th win mean to you?
Oh, it'd be unbelievable. You know, mainly I'd just be happy for the team. I think we deserve a win this year, and we're better to do it than the hard streets of Macau. So we're half a job done. Focus on tomorrow, but yeah, the car's awesome. So brilliant.
Congratulations, well done.
He did indeed keep his powder dry. And Rob Huff, I said in qualifying when he finished his lap, this pole will mean more to him than any other result this year. And I think a win, he's not had one in 2017, but a win will just be something special for him, and it'll be a 9th win around the streets of Macau. There is the Drivers' Championship. Huff with a few extra points for his pole position. Well, when we come back from this commercial break, we'll have the manufacturers against the clock showdown.